And we are officially recording. Hey, there we go. We'll have to edit that out. Here we are.
Small aisles.
Yeah. Okay, folks. Well, to start off, I'm Dave. I'm the manager here at Lieber's Luggage. I've been here for a couple of years. Have a bit of experience traveling around the world. I've only stood on 6 continents, which will be sadly outclassed by Leslee here.
We're equal.
What?
We're equal.
Where haven't you been?
I haven't been to Australia.
Oh, I assumed.
Nope.
I apologize. Well, so I've traveled to a few countries. She has traveled to a few more than I have, I am pretty sure on that one. We're going to go through and give you some of the tips and tricks. Leslee used to own the store for like 2 or 3 decades.
40 years, Frank and I owned the store. And then we owned Sun Tours.
And so speaking of Sun Tours, so anyways, my name's Dave, this is Leslee, and then we also have over here Michael from Sun Tours is going to come over. Sun Tours is locally owned here. They do a lot of really cool tours. Some of you guys may have been on some of their trips, and I see some nods and so on and so forth. If you haven't, we have a bunch of their brochures, and I'll let him give a quick introduction there.
Yeah, great to see you guys today. Thanks for having us. We are, as everyone was saying, we're New Mexico's oldest and largest group tour operator, and we've been traveling with folks from New Mexico all over the world and regionally since 1978 as well. And we are partners with the Lieber's folks, and very excited to be here for this packing demo. So please come chat with us about our tours, our cruises. We also do travel agency services. If there's something you want to put together, we have people who can help you do that. So without further ado, I'll step aside and let the packing demo begin.
There we go. Alrighty. Excellent. Thank you, Michael. So, let's see here. We're going to kind of talk to you about a couple things as far as traveling goes. First off is simply how to travel. A lot of folks will come into our store and say, hey, I've never been out of the country. I'm going to Canada, and what do I need to know? Well, we're going to cover a couple of the basics as far as that goes. We're also going to cover my personal favorite thing is when someone comes into our store and says, I'm going away for 3 days and I need to get this massive suitcase, and kind of look at them and say, 3 days, you got to be kidding me. We're going to actually pack a couple of bags and show you how much stuff you can actually put in and carry with you as simply carry-on. So, kind of that's kind of the gist of what we're going to be talking about. And so yeah, some things to think about as you're planning your trips. Where are you going? What is your itinerary? Is it a set itinerary where you're doing this on Monday, this on Tuesday, this on Wednesday? Or is it a fluid type of thing where, hey, I'm going to Paris and we'll see what catches my fancy, what I want to go to see. What kind of activities are you going to do? Hey, I mentioned earlier, I'm a big cyclist. If I go somewhere, I'm usually carrying my cycling cleats and my helmet and so on and so forth. So I need to have that type of clothing as well as regular clothing. Are we going to the opera in Austria for 7 nights? Well, that's going to be awfully different than going down to the Bahamas to sit around drinking Mai Tais. So we have to kind of think about where we're going, what we're doing, what's the dress code, what's the weather going to be. Typically, and again, going back to France here, typically in France, it is really warm this time of year. Right now it was 65 and raining in Paris. So take a look at your weather forecasting apps and see what the weather's going to be like when you head overseas.
And be dressed and prepared for anything anyway, because you don't know. I mean, when Frank and I were in Scotland in 2013, and we were looking out, over the North Sea, I had every piece of clothing from my suitcase on my body. So, I mean, I had long underwear, and then I had 2 pairs of pants, I think, and 4 shirts and those kinds of things. So even if you think you're prepared, have a backup plan. So it can be a challenge, but it was fun, and we were glad we were there. So, there are so many ways that your cell phone can help you in your planning. Of course, the weather, and the time zone, so that you know when you're gonna be and when you're gonna be asleep and those kinds of things. But all of your ticketing can now be purchased in advance, and a lot of special shows at museums or special cycling events or other sporting events that you may follow can all be bought ahead of time. Frank and I just got back from 2 weeks in London, and we saw, oh, it's time for a prize. Woo!
So
Don't forget the London story now.
Yeah.
we'll go back to London. And on this one, we're gonna go with a fully customizable luggage tag. These are we do these in-house. These are laser etched. Any design you want. If you want to put the Eiffel Tower on the front, cool, I can do that. And then your information on the back.
Janice Devotee.
Boom, Janice, you are the winner of a custom luggage tag. You want to get that on back for her? There we go. Alrighty.
Good.
So back to London.
So anyway, we saw 14 plays in 2 weeks, and in the middle of that, we drove on the wrong side of the road to the Kent Peninsula so we could go to the White Cliffs of Dover and see, and it was perfectly clear then, 2 weeks ago, and we could see the English Channel, so there was no weather. So, but anyway, we bought all of our theater tickets in advance, is my point. And we bought tickets to, I want to say, a couple of special exhibits at museums as well. So do all of that ahead of time when you can, as much as you can, but be aware of your cell phone charges and how you're going to access your cell phone overseas, because different phone companies have different international plans. We have T-Mobile, and we will buy a special international package for just a month at a time. You can do that, and it gives you unlimited, our plan gives you unlimited data, but the phone calls are 25 cents a minute. So we encourage people who absolutely have to call us, or we have to call them, to use WhatsApp, which is a great free app on your phone to use for international calls. And you can also, if you're with a group of people, you can form a special group, a WhatsApp group for your trip, and always stay in touch that way. Where should we meet for dinner? You can text people. You don't have to worry about making those plans at breakfast, especially when you're jet lagged and somebody's getting up at 7 and somebody's getting up at 10, and you're trying to make those kinds of decisions. So those are some of the things. Google Translate is a great way to speak a foreign language when you don't. And what else, Dave? Alarms, maps, restaurant recommendations, ticketing, weather, translating.
Things like Yelp reviews. Hey, you know, I'm sitting here in the middle of Amsterdam. That's a restaurant, that's a restaurant, that's a restaurant, that's a restaurant. How do I choose? Yelp review. They serve cat. We'll skip that one. They serve, you know, whatever. You can kind of run through and use those on the fly, and that's something that is very different in traveling today versus traveling even 20 years ago, 15 years ago. We didn't have all this information right at our fingertips, instantly accessible. Some of the other things that we like to talk about is, in terms of using the internet, is when we go to plan our trips. Everybody's familiar with Hotwire or Kayak and some of these websites, right? Get a lot of nods and so on and so forth. One of the important things with those is, you know, hey, I'm looking at taking a flight to go visit my brother in Chicago. I look at it on Hotwire and it's $500. Well, I need to check and make sure these dates are okay. These dates are okay. I go back and now it's $535. Well, gosh darn, that's ridiculous. I just wasted 35 bucks. Has anybody ever used incognito mode on their computer? I get one or two nods there. Google incognito mode. What it does is it basically blocks your IP address, because what's happening is if you go 3 days in a row looking at a flight to a certain location, each time you go, even on the same website, your price is going to go up. Using incognito mode means that you're blocking that information, and so now it's still $500 even after you've checked, double checked, and then rechecked. You're still in good shape. Another.
How did you start that? You went on to Google?
You can go to, if you're unfamiliar with incognito mode, just go to Google and type in what is it, or how do I use incognito mode. I don't have time to go into it right now, but that's the simple thing. Just Google incognito mode on your computer. The other one to use is a website called Skyscanner. Skyscanner is an interesting one where if you have flexible dates, a lot of our folks here are retired, and so it's like, I want to go on vacation in October, but I don't have to go October 10 through October 17 or anything like that. Skyscanner will say, hey, in October, the cheapest flights to go to Chicago are going to be Tuesday through Saturday on the 15th through the 21st or whatever it is. And so that's a really nifty one that can also save you a couple of bucks. So
The other thing that you can do, of course, with your cell phone is all of your photography, but you want to make sure that you know where you're going to put those photos, and you want to photograph all of your documents. Photograph your, have your boarding passes, have your passport, have any health insurance information with you, travel insurance information. All of that, your car rental, all of that can be and should be backed up on your phone so that you can always access those things.
Yep, that's super important. We kind of touched on this, and we'll kind of touch on it a little bit more. Travel insurance and or health insurance. For the most part, our health insurance doesn't exactly work overseas. There are a number of companies out there that will do a 1 month overseas policy. I think Blue Cross Blue Shield, I'll have to double check who all does that. But there are a couple of companies that if you have health concerns, it might be worthwhile getting a 1 month policy, and it's usually relatively inexpensive. It's $100-200 or something like that. And then if you do have any issues, you are fully covered. So
If you go through Sun Tours for any of this, they can help you because they can include health insurance in your fees for your tour or for your private trips. And it's usually based on what your trip costs. And so unless you're going many, many times, you don't need to have an annual policy. But if you're going many, many times during the year, like we do, then it's wise to have an annual policy, and they're not expensive. So think about that.
One more thing, kind of circle around. We're going a little bit out of order here and there. When we talked, Leslie talked earlier about where you're going and what you're planning on doing. Hey, we're going out to see these plays, these 14 plays. When we talk about kind of spontaneous trips versus planned trips, I need to see X museum. They're doing the Van Gogh exhibit at wherever. I totally want to go see that. Make sure you have tickets ahead of time. One of my buddies was over in Amsterdam a couple of years ago, and this was in the middle of November, in the middle of the week, and they wanted to go see the Anne Frank house. Sold out. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and he's sitting there going, you know, this is totally in the off season, and it still is absolutely booked 100%. So he was really kind of disappointed in that because he thought he'd be able to just kind of waltz right on in, no big deal. There are a lot of these, there are a lot more people traveling right now. I was in 4th grade, I got to go over, I was in the Louvre and walked right up to the Mona Lisa, and I was like, ah, cool. Good luck doing that now. Every single day of the year, there are 5,000 people packed into that room, and I can see it because everybody else is a little bit shorter. But the rest of you guys are going to be staring at the back of somebody's head. So, you know, I don't think there's a real good workaround to go see the Mona Lisa, but for a lot of these things, plan those ahead of time. If it's something that you really, really want to see, make sure you have tickets.
And I'll give you an insider's tip on seeing the Mona Lisa. On Friday nights, the Louvre has extended hours, and not very many people go because dinner is so important in France. So go on the late Friday afternoon or early to mid-evening, and you can get in.
Excellent tip. I like that.
So, yeah, nobody's gonna miss dinner in France. So,
Or should you?
yeah. Do you wanna talk about money?
I always like talking about money. Visa. Let's do visas real quick. You want to cover visas?
Okay, we'll do visas.
Yeah, I'll talk about money.
You need a visa now most of the time to get into Europe, especially into England. They're easy, super easy to get. You can get them online. As Google the verb, Google getting into England or English visa or UK visa, and you can fill it in. And if they will ask you for your passport number, and if you are already a trusted traveler, that passport number will be associated with your trusted traveler number, and you'll get it back within 5 minutes. And it's $25, I think, maybe 25 and change. So it's not difficult. But the European Union also has now a visa requirement. But the thing about the UK one is that it's good for 2 years too. So it's not like something that you have to do every time. Yes, ma'am.
Do you need that only if you're leaving the airport, or like we have to do a flight change at Heathrow?
I don't think you need to do it to change planes.
I just think so.
But
You never know.
yeah, that's my understanding. Yeah.
With that kind of thing, these rules are always changing, and so you may want to just Google, hey, I'm flying through Heathrow to Paris or whatnot. Do I need to get a English visa? Again, I don't think you do, but me showing up at the immigration saying, well, the guy at Lieber said he didn't think I needed this. They kind of frown on that one.
So they won't use it. Yeah. Lieber who?
Lieber who? Yeah. Foreign currency. So this is an interesting one. Depending on where you're going, you almost certainly want to take a few dollars of local currency. Usually $100 to $200 is plenty. I was talking to a customer one time who was going to Costa Rica, and he wanted to buy a money belt. And I said, okay, cool, we get to talking. And he says, well, I show him one, and he says, that's too small. And I say, well, how much are you planning on taking? And he says, $3,000 cash. I kind of looked at him and I said, is there something about Costa Rica that I don't know? And he said, well, my friend told me that both my wife and I should be carrying at least $3,000 cash to go to Costa Rica. And I'm kind of sitting there going, I've been to Costa Rica. I certainly didn't carry that much. Did something change? I Googled it real quick, and Google told me, carry $200, you'll be fine. And so I get to asking this guy more questions, and he says, well, we're going to an all-inclusive resort. And I'm flabbergasted, but one of his friends had told him, if anything happens, you need to have cash on you. I thought that was a bit more than a bit excessive. There are circumstances maybe where you need to carry that much, but as a recreational traveler, usually just a couple $100 for simple things and small denominations. If you're in Germany, you have to pay to use the restroom. It's like 50 cents or something like that, but generally speaking, that's kind of, to us, we look at that and say, well, you got to be kidding me. Aren't there rest areas? Well, there are rest areas, but you got to pay to use them. So having a couple bucks of euros or whatnot, that's always a good idea. A lot of people get very bent out of shape over, if I use an ATM in Europe, it's going to cost me. Yeah, it's going to cost you $2, $3.
Same as
Who
here.
cares? I mean, it's such a small denomination. Your ATM card, Bank of Albuquerque ATM card will work over there. If you want Bank of Albuquerque, go down there a couple weeks before your trip and say, hey, I need to get $200 in euro, and they'll be happy to do that. And they have I don't know if they even charge an exchange rate, but
Yeah, the exchange rate,
but I don't think they charge a surcharge.
no, and they don't if you're a bank.
If you're a Bank of Albuquerque, you have to be a member of one of the local banks to do that. Every international airport is going to have a change facility. Those usually charge more than just going to an ATM when you arrive in the.
That's what we advise.
Yeah, just go to an ATM over there. It's not a big deal. The other one is when you go to pay for something using your Visa card, it'll say, do you want to pay in US dollars or euros or whatever? Again, unless you're buying a new Rolex, it's an inconsequential amount. It's 50 cents difference between them. Google it if you want to see which one's cheaper, but it's really, don't lose sleep over that. Make sense?
But I will say that the restrooms in Switzerland accept your credit card and for that €1 charge, and that we did not use any cash at all in France or England in the last 2 months. So we did everything via credit card. So do make sure that you do not have a foreign transaction fee, which is different than the exchange rate. And I think the Costco Visa does not have a foreign transaction fee. So there are several credit cards.
Capital One Venture Card, Amex Gold, Wells Fargo Autograph, Discover IT Cashback, Citi Strata Premier, Bank of America Travel Rewards, and if you guys want to write down any of those, I've got a list of them, we can chat afterwards, but any of those cards have no foreign transaction fees, and they have a lot of perks if you travel a fair bit. Some of those really kind of add up, so might be worth taking a look at.
So what are we gonna take with us that is going to go on our bodies, not all of our bells and whistles kinds of things? So the
I'm
big
just gonna clear these out.
Thank you. The big thing is that you want to take clothes that you like, because if you're gonna pack small, you're gonna wear them a lot, and so you better like the way you look in them and the way you feel in them. For some people, I mean, what I'm saying is, if you don't wear black, then don't travel in black. It's not gonna make you cheerful when you get up and look at yourself in the mirror. You know, I never wear black, and I wear these colors, so I travel in these colors, and I have a bunch of different things and combinations, and I plan in that way. The other thing they want to try to think about is things that are quick dry and don't wrinkle. When we're in London, curiously enough, we stay in a college dormitory. It's a very nice dormitory. It has an ensuite bathroom. So, I mean, the bathroom's about this big. You can't get 2 people in it, but it is, you know, it's a pretty nice dorm with a double bed, and they have an iron. But a lot of hotels are not providing irons anymore unless you specifically ask for one. So you want to think about clothes that are going to dry fast, that are going to be wrinkle-free, or that you don't care about the wrinkles on. And then you want to think about what you want to pack. And when should you start thinking about this? An hour before you're supposed to be at the plane? Maybe not. So we advise, if you're not used to trying to think in these kinds of terms, that you start thinking about this maybe even a week ahead of time, and you lay out the things that you may want to take, and then watch, you know, put them I don't know, on your guest room bed, on your dining room table, someplace that you're gonna walk by them several times a day, so that out of the corner of your eye, you will catch and you'll say, oh my gosh, I've got 5 white t-shirts laid out. I don't want 5 white t-shirts. I may not even want 1. It's gonna show dirt really fast. So you can change those, and you give yourself time to process these kinds of things. Generally, we think in terms of 3 or 4 shirts for every pair of pants or skirt, and you know, maybe 1 skirt, 1 dress. Ladies, you certainly don't need a bunch of dressy clothing unless you're going to some special event like the opera repeatedly, or a family wedding, or those kinds of things. So you want to think in those terms. If you've got special activities, Frank and I did a bike ride when we were in the UK, so I made sure that I had some shorts with me, which I don't ordinarily always take, but I've been using a Costco Sport that I found this spring, and I've loved it. I was like, why haven't I had one of these before? So it's been great, and it's been really comfortable, and it's great to cycle in. So I have under here a bag packed And
I'm gonna jump in real quick
Okay,
because
please.
the timer went off, but
timer
we
went
didn't, well, we didn't let it go
Oh.
off. But we have our next raffle prize.
Okay.
We have a travel umbrella ready to go here. And so if we can get the basket of names.
Any volunteers to pull for me?
well, who won
Come
last
on.
time?
Oh,
Let's see, well, here, how about, here we go, there we go. Just,
and so our winner of a travel umbrella is
Marcia Yan.
Oh my God.
Alright.
there we are. Okay.
So one of the things I'm sure you've seen recently is there's hard side suitcases and there's soft side suitcases. And there are different ways to pack each of them. The hard side suitcase is a clamshell suitcase, and so it's gonna look like this, half and half. And some people love that because they can put things in that they don't need, or they can separate things in a way that makes sense for them. The soft side suitcase is quite different, and Dave's gonna show you that.
I'll be demoing that. This is the fun part of the presentation that everybody's kind of here for, to see how much stuff we can put in.
So this, I have actually 2 packet folders here, and I like having a couple of different packet folders because when I'm really tired of something, I can pull out the new packet folder instead of the one that I've been living out of for the last 3 weeks. So the on this side, I've got a tube cube that is going between the poles. The bottom of the suitcase has the tube for the handle. And then over here I have my bathing suit and a large white men's t-shirt, which I like to have with me because it can be a bathing suit cover up, it can be a workout shirt, it can be a night shirt if I need something extra. So all of that's in here, and if I get to my all-inclusive resort early, but my room's not ready, I can just grab this out of my suitcase with my flip-flops and go to the pool. Same thing here, I've got my nightgown. If I get in because my plane's delayed and I'm really, really late, maybe all I want is my toothbrush out of my carry-on and my nightgown, and I wanna fall into bed. If it's, something's happened and it's midnight. I've got my raincoat over here, so it's available and ready. And I've got in my, this tube cube, I've got 6 pairs of underwear and 3 brassieres and all of my socks. And then I have my larger pair of shoes, which you may or may not want to put into your suitcase. You can also wear them. And in my suitcase, in my shoe is a belt. Then I've got my purse here because I am only allowed 2 carry-on items. So I'm gonna have in my life preserver bag over here, I could have this full and in it, but it would be it might be heavy. Or I just wanna put into the life preserver bag just my passport and my a little wallet so that I know where that is and I can keep track of that stuff. So what's in these? Well, we talked about a couple of pairs of pants, and don't forget when you're counting these things that you've got what you're wearing. So I've got these things, and I'll show you how I have laid them in here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 shirts here. And you can see that the colors are all my kind of colors. So, so I start with a dress, and this is a jersey knit dress, and because it's got so much pattern, it doesn't show wrinkles. So I lay it here, folded in half on my packet folder. And this is much easier to do on a big surface, like your bed or like a dining room table, that kind of thing. So that's folded in half and stretched out. Then I've got 1 pair of pants here going this way, and so you get the two lengths in each, going each way. And then I've got a pair of linen pants that if I wash them, they don't need to be ironed, they're already wrinkly, so I don't care. And then the 4 shirts, 2 and 2. And then I start wrapping the shirts around the pants, wrapping the pants around the shirts. And that goes like so.
This is the tried and true New Mexico crafted burrito method.
That's right. So you have, I should actually copyright, patent
yes.
that name. So you get this burrito, which we call, so.
How many days of clothing is that?
For me, it's with 4 shirts and then 3 pairs of pants. I pack in a carry-on, to go for up to 3 weeks. I've got 4 more shirts over here, okay, but, I mean, it depends on how often you're willing to wear them and if you're willing to do laundry. All of these things can go in the sink and will dry quickly, so, and then this goes on top. And I snug them all up, and the thing about these packet folders is that by wrapping things really tightly, they don't shift around and therefore they don't wrinkle. And the same, I don't have any lengthy things over here, but I have my skirt, my beloved skirt. And then I have 2 more tops here, and I am really liking having a kind of dressy shirt that will go with and dress up anything, can go over my dress, can go over any of my pants and turn anything dressier. And I've got 2 more shirts here, and you can see I like color, I like patterns. That's how I dress. That may not be how you dress, but what you should do is think about what you like the best. And then in the bottom here I have a long sleeved linen shirt for going over anything else, including my bathing suit. So that's what's in my suitcase. And then it all goes back in here.
What season is this?
Well, this is
probably?
summer,
Yeah.
because I'm getting ready to go to Japan, because we can't do only one international trip this year, we have to do 3. So, which is,
Oh.
yeah, which is insane. But if you're concerned about the weather, if you're concerned about winter travel, then these things would all be long sleeved, they would be lightweight, and you would layer them, is what I do. So I would take with me a set of long underwear if I was really concerned, and I would probably take wool because it, you can wear it more often without worrying about washing it out because it doesn't hold odors. And, but you can also take silk, which is much lighter weight. And so, or both. I might take a pair, I'd certainly take a pair of tights in addition to long underwear, and then I would take lightweight shirts and layer them. And I would have a fleece coat that I would roll up in my compression bag. And, or
A fleece
wear.
coat versus like a parka, like if you're going someplace that's really cold.
Parka.
Parka, yeah,
Well,
either one.
there are lots of different definitions
Yeah,
to
that's
these.
true.
I'll show you a jacket that I usually would carry with me if I think it's going to be the least bit cold. It's going to be one of the micro puff jackets.
Right.
All of the ski, Patagonia, North Face, any of those
Yeah.
companies are going to make a micro puff. And the nifty thing with those is they are designed to loft, and so they take up a ton of room. But we have various compression bags that will suck all the air out of those and bring it down to next to nothing as far as size goes.
Leslie, can I ask you a question? What kind of raincoat do you have in there? Because I have 4 different raincoats, and no matter what I do, it does not look that small.
Well, this is a Columbia and it's not lined,
And
So-
mine are not.
so, but,
We have some from Rains over here that'll roll down every bit as small as that.
Okay.
yeah.
I'll show those to you afterwards.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've got, 2 pairs of pants, 3 pairs of pants, my skirt, so 4 bottoms, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least shirts. So that's what I would be taking for an ordinary trip, and this is easily put into the overhead. So it's about 20. What do you think?
Well, let's see how much it actually weighs, because that's going to be something that everybody's kind of concerned with, and this always makes me laugh. Is, you know, oh boy, I need to take 57 outfits, but I can't lift it up. Well, don't take 57 outfits,
So-
because this is weighing in at 19 pounds. Okay.
Where are your toiletries?
My toiletries are gonna be in my
Life
life
preserver.
preserver bag, my.
And that's like under your seat or?
Right.
Yep. And that's where I will step in. And so thank you very much, Leslie. That everybody,
So,
that makes sense.
but-
Oh.
Yeah, but the point I wanna make is that you don't have to, this is a way to pack without checking. You don't have to not check it. You can take you can make it heavier, you can cram more in it, you can take heavier stuff, you can take a bigger suitcase. But we're just trying to talk about, ways that you can avoid extra baggage fees and waiting in line and those kinds of things. We checked a bag coming home from London because we had bought the theater programs for every show, and there was 25 pounds of theater programs. I mean, they're enormous, they're huge, they're these great big thick books. And so Frank said, maybe we should check that bag. I don't really feel like lifting it over my head this time. So we checked it, and it was always the last bloomin' bag to come off of the plane. It was like, okay, I'm teaching you a lesson here again. So anyway, it's you don't have to do this. It's just a way that we're trying to show you how to think about what you really need to take. And maybe you need a fancy dress because you're going to a family wedding or something else. Maybe you're on a business trip and you've got to have 4 suits. Now you can't really mix and match that kind of thing because you have to make a certain kind of impression. That may need a bigger suitcase, but what we're talking about here is vacation travel for probably, this is at least a week and a half's worth of clothing that's in here. If you're willing to do laundry, you can live out of this kind of suitcase for months though. So just think I'm not saying this is the only way you're allowed to leave Albuquerque.
So that is one way to pack, and that is for a mammal approximately this size. Now we're going to talk about a large mammal and how much stuff we can actually put into a bag. Because again, this kind of goes back to a couple of the questions that we've asked. What happens if it's cold out and so on and so forth. But before I do that, let's go ahead and we're going to go with an RFID blocking neck wallet. This has a lanyard on it. You're going to put this inside your shirt and keep pickpockets from getting to you. And our winner of this item is going to be.
And I'm going to let her pull since she won the last one.
There we go.
I like that one. And this item goes to, excuse me, I'm trying to do everything at once. Paul, with the UEBE. Don't tell me.
Oh,
Okay, there's a conspiracy over here.
I think it is. That's the lucky row right there.
Thank you.
People are going to start shifting over there, I think.
You're all gonna sit next to them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, don't worry, we have a couple more things going on, so if you want to restart the timer.
Yes, I'll restart the timer.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so some important questions. Where are we going? Hey, I'm going to go up and see the Northern Lights in Finland. Awesome. Hey, I'm going to the Bahamas. Those are 2 totally different trips. A real quick aside was we had a guy who worked for the U.S. Forest Service. He was heading over to England to teach an arbory forestry type of class. And so he says, I need to have my steel-toed work boots. I have my leather chaps. I have my gauntleted leather gloves. I have my hard hat with a full face shield. I want to do this in carry-on. Oh, and by the way, since I'm already going over to England, I want to jump across to France and do a little bike riding, so I need my cycling cleats and my cycling helmet. Physics is a real thing, okay? That isn't going to happen. So there are limitations, and there are times where we absolutely do have to check a bag. As she said, you know, hey, I got 25 pounds of playbills here. Well, it's cheaper to pay $35 to have that flown home on Delta or whatnot than to pay UPS to ship that across. So don't be afraid to pay a couple bucks to ship something on the air, or to bring something with you on the airplane if you need to. So, but having said that, when you do check, you have to wait for it as you go through immigration and so on and so forth. If you have a tight schedule, sometimes your bag doesn't arrive and then you miss your flight. Oh, it's a lot easier if you do everything in carry-on. So, having said that, we're gonna pull out our flagship bag here. This is the Briggs & Riley BLU 122 CXSP-5. This is one of our, and yes, you do have to memorize that. This is one of our very favorite bags. Briggs & Riley is our best-selling brand. It's very, very expensive, but it has a lot of neat stuff going on, and you're gonna get to see why this is such a great bag. One of the things that we kind of talk about with any of our bags is the warranty on it. The Lieber branded bag that we have, that Leslie showed you here, that has a 5-year unlimited warranty. Anything goes wrong with it for any reason, bring it back in for 5 years, we got you covered. Briggs is a little bit more expensive, but they're also gonna have a little bit better warranty. Bumper to bumper, anything goes wrong with it for any reason, it's a lifetime warranty. We have bags that come in that are 25, 30 years old, they're covered. They're gonna get repaired, so kind of a cool concept. Opening this guy up, we're gonna show off 2 things that are kind of nifty. First, the expansion on it. There are these little orange buttons right in here, and so I'm opening this bag up to pack it all the way. It gives me 2 full inches of extra room. The second thing, so I'm gonna move my little flappy things out of the way before I get started here. The second thing that this bag has going for it is, for the business travelers out there, on the top deck, it has a suitor.
Can you flip it this way?
Yes, absolutely. So you can kind of see, okay? So I am going to be packing 2 things about how I'm gonna pack this bag. First off, this is absolutely not how I would ever travel. This is a proof of how much stuff you can get into a bag. Second thing, I'm gonna be moving really, really quickly here because I've got a lot of things to put in, and so I'm not gonna be taking the time to really fold them correctly. If I was packing seriously and I wanted to prevent wrinkles, I would take a lot more time to do this, so forgive me for hitting fast forward on this part of it. So, starting out, I have got a sport coat, pair of dress pants, dress shirt. We're going to, and the hanger. We're gonna pop that guy right in here about like this. Fold in my arms. Whoop. Whoop. We're gonna go under the foam bumper. And as I said, I'm doing this rather quickly.
You can put more than one suit in there?
I can put more than one suit. For this demo, I really can't. I would max out with 2, and 2 sport coats would work in here. It'd be tough to get 2 full suits in here. But this is like, hey, I have one nice dinner that I'm gonna go to that I need to wear a coat, but that's it.
How big is that suitcase?
This is 22 inches tall. This is standard domestic carry-on, 22 by 14 by 9.
Not when it's expanded.
Yeah, and right now it's much larger, and so we'll see if we can get it crushed that back down to correct size. I'm gonna put in one pair of jeans. I'm gonna be doing the exact same thing as Leslie showed you, where we're going to be doing a burrito folding method, where we're going to be alternating, and we're gonna fold everything back down. This is the second pair of kind of heavier pants that weigh more than I should. Normally, I would try to be taking a little bit lighter weight clothing, but this is all I have, so whatever. It's what was clean in the in my closet this morning. So that's 5 pairs of pants, 1 pair of jeans, 4 pairs, 2 pairs of dress pants, 2 pairs of kind of khaki slacks. Okay. One other thing to mention real quick is how I'm dressed right now, how Leslie is dressed right now. I'm not wearing suns out, guns out muscle shirt getting onto an airplane, okay? I love reading articles where somebody says, they wouldn't let me on the plane because my outfit was too revealing or some stuff like that. Dress semi-professionally. You want to be comfortable when you get on an airplane, but if you want to get flagged by a gate attendant, if you want to start your trip off badly, wear something totally inappropriate to travel in. That's just idiotic.
And be cold the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. So dress in if you've seen me here in the store, I always wear a Hawaiian shirt. I might actually wear a Hawaiian shirt if I'm going to the Bahamas or something, but if I'm flying over to England, she and I are dressed appropriately for that kind of trip. So just little tidbit there to mention. So I've got 1 dress shirt, 1 sport coat, 5 pairs of pants. And I'm just gonna have you hand these over to me. So now this is 2 dress shirts, 3 dress shirts, and again, I'm kind of alternating back and forth. And I'm creating a nest in here essentially. This is number 4? 4, okay. 4 shirts. It's like I'm on Sesame Street, the count. 5 the best shirts.
Can I ask you a question about
Yes.
how you're doing this?
Yes.
So if you want to just pull out 1 shirt, you're packing it in a way that you've got to pull everything out.
I am packing this not in any way, shape, or form how I actually travel. I am packing this to show how much one of these suitcases can put in.
Oh, okay.
Because again, it's the idea that folks will say, you know, oh, I can't possibly take a carry-on for a 3-day trip. And I'm like, yeah,
But
you
what if you
can.
packed it like you would actually pack it?
It would
can
be
you
a
still
little
carry
bit
as
less,
much?
and it's hard to pack this many, like, I don't know anybody who carries 10 dress shirts with them on a trip, so
This is great, a good way to pack if you're going someplace where you're going to unpack once.
Yeah, once.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you're going
okay.
on a cruise ship, this would be okay.
Yeah.
But it is not that's why the packet folder is, that I use, you can pack layers that are actually outfits.
Yeah.
You can pack, in one of the packet folders for cold weather, you can pack the other one for warmer weather. Say you're gonna go to the Canary Islands in Norway, which is not too is that enough?
it's not, it's enough for now.
It's enough for now.
So right now, I have 8 dress shirts in here. I have 10 t-shirts. I have 10 pairs of underwear. And I have 10 socks. Now I'm going to go ahead and quickly fold my burrito back into place.
Angle it a little bit so we can see how all of those packets fit in.
It is basically, yeah, here. It is just
Okay.
kind of, I created a little nest and then I put my, put the packing cubes inside the nest.
And all of them are soft, so they're squishy.
And no shoes. You're only wearing 1 pair of shoes.
I'm only wearing 1 pair of shoes and we'll get into that.
Okay.
And that's an excellent question, thank you.
Shoes are big for me. I can't
Yeah?
get away with one pair of shoes because of where my feet
Well,
are.
I had 1 pair in my suitcase
Yeah.
and 1 on my feet, and, if you need heels, then they're usually not very, thick, so, you could get away with them. As I said, we're going to Japan in September, and we're going straight from Tokyo to Cleveland for a wedding. So I've been kind of,
They're very similar places.
yeah, in September maybe, but.
Okay? So,
That's ridiculous, Steve.
Wow.
that's where we are right now, but wait, there's more. If you order in the next 15 minutes, you get a free class in CPR. One of the beautiful things about the Briggs & Riley bag here is you get to do CPR on it. Push down, push down, push down, push down. I'm back to carry-on size.
So you just collapsed the 2 inches that you expanded?
Exactly. The idea is I use that extra 2 inches to put everything in, and then I'm able to squeeze all the air out of that stuff to get it to fit properly. But I still have my Hawaiian shirt and 2 more dress shirts to get me to 10 dress shirts, 1 Hawaiian shirt, 1 sport jacket, 1 pair of blue jeans, 3 or 4 pair of dress pants.
And insanity.
And again, I don't care about wrinkles. Banana Republic makes some fantastic shirts that are wrinkle free. Highly recommend those. Not to give a plug to Banana Republic there, but and I'm sure other places do as well. But
Athleta does too.
with these, this is more to your question. This is more how I would normally
Yeah.
travel, is just to roll them up like
Because I know
this.
a lot of people roll too,
Yeah.
and so I was kind of curious. I was going to ask on your, if you're just yourself packing for you, are you going to roll them?
If I was packing, I usually, well, I would absolutely roll, yes. So that's the easy answer there.
Like, what about your toiletries, shavings and?
That is the magic question that we're going to address here in 1
We
second.
didn't hear what she said.
What about my shaving kit, my
Yeah.
toiletries, shoes, so on and so forth?
We want you to use, do you ever use, the compression cubes?
So compression cubes, they're fine. It depends on what I'm taking. If I need to take a puffy jacket or something,
Right.
compression cubes are wonderful. For t-shirts and so on and so forth, I don't think they're really compressing all that much. Any packing cube is going to work just fine. Generally, when I'm actually packing, I use multicolored packing cubes. So I know my socks are in the red one, my underwear's in the green one, my t-shirts are in the blue one, something along those lines. I was using our Lieber's branded packing cubes for this demo. So here's a whole ton of stuff. But Leslie mentioned earlier that I am allowed to take not only a carry-on, but a personal item. The personal item is a life preserver bag.
So this is my down jacket in a compression bag, and it would easily have fit into the room that I had in my suitcase. And it's just like Dave said, with the puff, it will loft up once you get it out of this bag and shake it out. So,
And so that's a very nice warm jacket.
But how do you squish it down?
It has a one-way check valve, and so when you put it in there, you simply roll up the bag, and it's pushing all the air out of the bottom, and so it'll squish down into next to nothing really, really quickly.
we'll show you.
How much does that bag weigh?
That is an excellent question. And so let's find out. Any guesses? First was 20 pounds. What are we? 30?
Yeah.
40?
No,
75? Didn't bring any bowling balls with me this time. I have this guy weighing in at the low weight of 32 pounds.
Is international carry-on a different size?
Yes, it is 21 inches, and for visual purposes, that's my 22-inch domestic bag. That's a 21-inch international bag. So it's a fairly small difference, but I can't. This bag doesn't have quite as much room as my blue bag here does. So there are a bunch of unique things about the Briggs & Riley. Most notably, the pull handles on the outside of the bag, where Leslie was talking about using her packing cube that fits inside the rails here. I don't have to worry about that because I have a totally flat packing surface in there, and so just creates a little bit more room. So for our travelers who say, you know, boy, oh boy, I need the most space I can possibly get in a bag, the Briggs & Riley is usually going to be one of our top choices.
Is there another use for that thing where you put the suit in if you don't have it, if you're not?
Yes, you can unzip the part of the suitor and leave it at home. And then you can put whatever you would like in there.
Yeah, that's what I usually do, is just use it as a bigger pocket.
Yep. So, the question of, well, actually, first off, we are going to be going.
We're not going over here this time.
Our next winner. Our next winner is going to get a travel sachet. These things keep your luggage.
Espino.
There we are. Travel sachet. There we are.
I'll bring it back.
Keeps your luggage fresh. It's kind of a nice thing to throw in there. Keeps the laundry from smelling up your bag, I guess.
So did everybody see me squish this?
Yeah.
So the most important piece of travel gear that you're going to have is your personal item bag. This is the only piece of Briggs & Riley that I actually own. This is a bag that we sell a ton of for a couple of very key reasons. Most of our travelers are going to be traveling for vacation rather than work. The only handicap to this bag is it doesn't really fit a laptop very well. It will fit an iPad, just laptops don't fit in it very well. The reason why this is so cool and so important to me is very complex. It has end pockets. Now, why that's important is when I slide this under the seat in front of me, I have a pocket right here that I can get my headphones out. I can get my Snickers bar, granola bar, whatever thing like this. I can get a water bottle out of the end. It's any of the things that I need while I'm actually flying. Leslie talks about using no jet lag pills. Those are going to go in the end. On a lot of bags, they have a vertical zipper, and so I have to pull the bag out, put it on my lap, open the bag to try to get my Snickers bar. This, I just reach down and it's right there. So, how I pack this up. iPad can go in the front pocket. I usually carry a novel. That's going to go on one of the ends. I'm going to carry headphones. I'm going to carry Snickers bar on the other end. I'm going to carry a lightweight jacket. Okay? These things are going to be warm. This will keep me warm down to mid 30 degrees or so, semi-waterproof. Good thing to have with me. 2 socks, 2 underwear, 2 t-shirts. So if my bag gets gate checked and I go to Barcelona, my bag goes to Brussels, so on and so forth, I have 2 full days of clothing right here. I got 1 pair of pants that I'm wearing. I got a 2nd pair of pants right here. I'm ready to roll. I'm gonna have my toiletry bag. Any medication, anything like that, definitely gonna go in your life preserver bag because this is never gonna get gate checked on you. Boy, you fly over to Europe, first thing I wanna do when I land is head to the restroom and brush my teeth. That's going to be right here with me all the time. Size 13 shoes. Those are probably bigger than what most people in here wear. So this bag will fit all of those things that I need for 2 days, just right here in my small little bag, ready to roll. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Comments, questions, concerns?
What was the pros and cons to the hard shell and the soft shell?
Well, the hard shell usually packs as a clam shell, so you have 2 equal halves, whereas the Briggs & Riley had 1 deep compartment. And so, but both of them are expandable.
It's a personal preference more. I think there's a lot of mentality out there. Oh, I want to get a hard shell suitcase because it's going to be more durable. Not really. In our experience, 3 things fail on every piece of luggage: the wheels, the pull handle, the zippers. It's very rare that something punctures an actual bag. So
Cuts of fabric.
yeah.
You said that that was expandable. How does that expand? I didn't see that when you
I didn't expand it.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm a tinier person and I was able to not.
Smaller mammal.
Tinier person. So,
Oh, like that, oh, okay, and then you can switch it down like
yeah,
that.
and that's,
Exactly.
yeah, so you can do the same kind of thing. It just doesn't have the spring system that the Briggs and Riley does.
Thank you.
Easy match. Pounds, blah blah blah. Okay.
We said everything?
I think we've covered most of that. So tote life preserver. Let's move on down to at the airport. You want to cover a global entry card?
Sure. How many people here today have a trusted traveler number either? Okay, so good, yay. That's why the lines are getting bigger at the TSA pre-check line. But if you don't have it, there are two different kinds of trusted traveler programs that are important to you all in all likelihood. There is the Trusted Traveler Program, and then there's the Global Entry Program. Global Entry is for those of you who are traveling overseas, and when you come back into the United States, you can go to a little kiosk and have it read your passport and go through immediately. So it's much faster than waiting in line to go through the security to check back into the US. It doesn't help you so much when you're leaving, but the Global Entry Program also does provide you TSA pre-check if you put your trusted traveler number on your travel record. It is not automatic. You have to add it to every airline, okay? It takes longer to get your Global Entry card than it does usually to get your regular TSA card, but if you are traveling overseas regularly, then we do recommend that you think about the Global Entry card. The difference in price over 5 years is negligible. It's about $25 difference, and it's certainly $5 more per year is nothing. So when you're going to the airport, you do want to make sure that you have your Global Entry card with you. If you have a Global Entry card, you will not have a card if you are just TSA pre-check. So, but you will have that number, and you can have that number with you on your phone. Because for some reason, out of the blue, my middle name got changed on my records with American, and they wouldn't give me my TSA pre-check. So we figured it out, but it was very odd, and I was really glad I had my global entry card with me. You need your passport, you need your boarding pass. It can be on your phone or it can be printed out. When you go through security, now you don't have to take off your shoes, yay! So, and they're talking about changing the liquid requirements too. We didn't talk about a 311 bag, but a 311 bag is, so.
I have
Okay, 311 is one quart bag with no more than 3 ounces for any individual package, and 1 per person. So those are, so these are 3 ounces, the biggest size you can carry, and this is loads of product. And for the most part, all of you are going to be traveling where you can go shopping. And isn't that why we travel? I mean, maybe you don't go just so you can buy toothpaste, but if you need toothpaste, you can get it. So it's not, I mean, we've been to Antarctica, but even the shop on board the ship had toothpaste. So it's okay. You will not be without your necessaries. So when you go through security, you will need to take off, belts, conceivably if they're big heavy belts, big metal watches, maybe phones out of your pocket, change out of your pocket, all that has to go separately. The new system at the Sunport is, I think, a great system. It's working pretty smoothly with their bins, with everything going in the bin instead of the suitcase going separately now. So I think that's good, but you need to be ready for all different kinds of security systems. Sometimes when you're coming from the US and you're going to an airport in a foreign country, they still want your liquids out, or they still want your shoes off. So you need to do a little research about what those requirements are in that specific country, so that you know.
That's a really good point of why we use the packing cubes, because nobody wants, if I open up my suitcase and my underwear's all over the place, I don't want TSA going through my underwear to get to the hairdryer that they think is a gun or something like that. If you have all your stuff in a packing cube, you can just pull those out real quick, and it's just a little bit easier and less ooey, I think,
and
for
they can
all
take
involved.
the whole packing cube and shove it through individually through the X-ray machine.
Yep.
The only thing that I've ever had problems with going through TSA in Albuquerque is I used to carry a rubber ball because I would use it as a massage tool, which was really nice on the planes, and when I got to being really stiff from having sat so still for so long, and they always thought that rubber ball was, I don't know.
They just wanted to bounce them.
No, I just said, throw it in the trash. The fourth time I got dinged for it, I said, fine. But.
Gotcha. Yeah, so just some quick little aside as far as that goes is, different countries have different restrictions, and so be aware that, hey, this worked in the US but doesn't work here. Got lucky enough that I was over in Cairo a number of years ago, and when we got off the jetway, there's a big sign in English: if you are caught smuggling drugs into our country, you will be hanged. And so I was like, yeah, I guess I should be concerned about that. Which brings us to an important question that a lot of folks have: what about my prescription medication for my blood pressure? They don't care. What about my prescription medication for my bad back that's opioid-based, Vicodin, Percocet, so on and so forth? You can take that. Be aware that you are going to have every piece of documentation that you can possibly get from your doctor. Be aware that you might want to contact the consulate of Egypt and say, hey, I've got a bad back. I'm going to be taking 20 Percocet with me. Is that okay? If you have any question, don't trust the folks at Lieber's Luggage. Trust the embassies. Ask that question before time. But if it's something simple like blood pressure, heart medication, you're totally fine. Have the prescription with you.
Have all of your prescriptions with you.
Yeah, for a number of reasons, have all of those.
So, the bottle's got a prescription on it. Do you mean bring the piece of paper that goes with it?
Bring every darn thing you can think of. And again, if it's just simply blood pressure or something like that, I think you're fine just with the prescription bottle. The drug sniffing dogs aren't going to alert to that.
Do you have one of those things that has when you put your pills in different?
Yep.
You still have to take.
Then I would, if you're using one of those, I would take just the original prescription forms. And again, it's the only thing that I'm concerned with for any of our customers traveling is going to be a controlled opioid type substance, Dilaudid, Percocet, Vicodin, any of those things. If you have any of those, take some extra precautions, make sure you're going to be okay, and don't take your jumbo size thing of prescription opioids, which nobody has. But
when I went to Central Europe last year, we were told that we needed all our prescriptions and whatever. And yeah, I wasn't going to take every bottle that I had.
Yep.
So I went to Walgreens and they printed out all my prescriptions for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, and you can do that yourself online too. So, but yeah, we recommend that you have, because not only does it prove that you are entitled to have this, but if you should have a medical issue while you're overseas, whoever's treating you will need to see exactly what you're taking and how much and why. So having that, and you can take pictures of this on your phone. And you want to store all of these things that we're talking about taking pictures of in the cloud, not because if your phone gets separated from you because you drop it on the sidewalk or because there's been some, drop it in the Seine, I don't know. But if you can get to a computer, or your travel companion or somebody can get to the computer, then they can access that. you don't have to have it right here next to you all the time. You can have a backup plan, and that's what we're always talking about, is backing up all of your systems so that no matter what happens, you are still keeping yourself safe. Same thing we didn't mention, in your life preserver bag, I would maybe put a set of my clothes in Frank's, and Frank would give me a set of his clothes. So if all of our clothes got separated from us for some reason, we would have a backup. So
Yeah, that's always a good idea. Similarly, while we're kind of on the subject, as far as like taking identification, so on and so forth, taking pictures of it is great. I might take a picture of Leslie's, she might take a picture of mine, just to, again, redundancy has never been problematic. In the digital age, you know, just go ahead, take pictures of everything that you can think of. That way, if you do have a problem, you have some photographic evidence of it, back and forth. Moving on, you want to go to sleeping, eating, healthcare?
Sure. So, jet lag. Let's talk in general about jet lag.
And actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and we're going to give away another luggage tag. And this luggage tag is going to go to...
Let's see. I'm coming to the back of the room. Would you mind pulling one for me? Yep. All right, thank you. And this goes to Jan Hack.
And you are a winner of a red luggage tag. Sir, can you pass that on back to her? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no jet lag, you're on it.
Okay, no jet lag. I really swear by these no jet lag tablets. They are a homeopathic remedy that I find really works for Frank and me. We also use melatonin when we get to our new time zone, the first couple nights that we go to sleep. Frankly uses a sleeping pill when he's on the plane. I can sleep on planes, he cannot. Most CPAPs, even standard home versions, can be plugged in now on planes. There are plugs under even economy seats, so you can use those, and he uses his. So all of those things that help you sleep as much as possible on the plane are to your advantage. We usually travel, all of us, if we're going to Europe, travel out of hubs like Chicago or Denver or Dallas, not so much anymore New York and Washington DC. So if you're on one of those, and I read this week in the New York Times that flights that are over 10 hours are considered long haul, and it's 11 hours to get from Phoenix to London or back. So I was like on several long haul trips, and that means that you need to be really efficient about staying hydrated, about moving from time to time when you can, but also sleeping is really important. So if you get on the plane and can go to sleep immediately, put your eye mask on so that the flight attendant doesn't say, "What do you want for dinner?" So, because and by the same token, I would eat if I had a chance at the airport, so I didn't have to worry about waiting for the airplane food. And sleep as quickly as you can, and as much as you can, because they're going to be asleep where you're headed right now. So you want to switch time zones as quickly as possible, and getting as much sleep as possible on the plane will help you with that. Taking no jet lag. If you're not sleeping every 2 hours, if you are sleeping every 4 or 5, works for us as well. Having not a lot of wine or other alcohol, but a lot of water really makes a difference. And then when you get to your destination, brushing your teeth and going outside in the sunshine and walking, exercising in the sunshine, makes a huge difference in helping your body reset for the new time zone. So anything you can do. We always plan something so that we can you know, we're not just kind of going, oh, we're half asleep, where are we going now? So we think about where we're going. We go, we watch the Chelsea Detectives, so this time we went to see Chelsea, and we were like, this isn't at all like the show. But we still had a good time walking around in the sunshine, so it was great. If you like neck pillows, that's great. The pillows, almost all of the planes are providing neck pillows overseas now. Dave has his headphones with noise canceling. Good on you. I can't wear them. They make my ears hurt. So I just, you know, ignore. So ignore the noise, but I can't do it. Compression socks are super cool for helping prevent deep vein thrombosis and swelling, just plain old swelling in your legs from not moving around. So those are nice, and so often the planes, when we're flying north around over the poles, it gets cold, so having good socks on also helps with that. So that's what I do to have a comfortable trip on the plane and a better day when I get there.
Yep. Cool, makes sense. Any questions?
Is the no jet lag, so is that like to help you sleep, or so
No,
that you're
it
awake
helps
when you...
adjust your it helps your body to adjust to the new time zone. It does not have a sleep aid in it.
It is truly magic and witchcraft kind of thing, where it's a homeopathic type of thing.
I'll agree with you there, because I've used it for 2 overseas trips, and it really does help. I'm not going to say it totally solves the problem for me, but it does help.
So when do you take it? You take it when you land?
Take it every 2 hours from the time you get on your first plane.
So, and as she said, if you take a little nap and you miss, you know, hey, I slept for 4 hours or so, when you wake up, take another tablet, and it will. My wife has used it and said, yeah, it wasn't as though I woke up and I was like, hey, great, I feel, or when we landed, I feel great and I'm ready to go. It was everybody else in her group was dragging along like something out of a zombie movie, and she was like, just give me some coffee and I'll be fine. So, you know, it's an aid, it's not a complete remedy, we'll say.
Yeah, I think that's great.
And they just,
over the
you put them
counter.
under your tongue, or, you know, it's like something
Yeah,
like
you
that.
can chew them.
You chew them, yeah, so it's not like you even need water.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to cover the last couple of things here.
Yeah.
When we arrive in country, we're going to talk about like driving restrictions. As long as you're 18 and over, in most European countries, and we keep on talking about Europe. Europe is hands down the largest destination for any of our overseas travelers. Obviously, we have some people going to South America. We have people going to, some people get to go to Australia.
Not me this year.
Not you.
Japan, though.
But, you know, going overseas, Europe is the primary destination where most people go. So these are the ideas of going to Europe. I have one of my good buddies, loves going to Southeast Asia. He was in Thailand for a while, he was in Vietnam for a while, and goes and rents a little motorbike and is riding all over the place and had a great time with that. But if we could go over to France, Germany, whatnot, most of the time you need a valid US driver's license, and that's about it. It's pretty simple and straightforward. You know, driving on the Autobahn is pretty entertaining. Please, if you do, stay in the slow lane unless you are actively passing. Cars really do go quickly out there. I was fortunate enough, I lived in Germany, and yeah, you don't hang out in the left lane ever under any circumstance. You get back over to the right.
And lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of roundabouts.
Yes, understand how a roundabout works. That's another big key thing. Let's see here. Let your credit card companies know, hey, by the way, I'm going to be over in France for a couple of weeks, because the last thing that I want to do is arrive in France, I'm hungry, I want to get some breakfast, I go to get a chocolate croissant, and my card's like, sorry, declined. Let the credit card company know that you're going to be overseas. That's just a good, simple one for you. I've spoken several times about my beloved Snickers bar, which in this case is a little fig bar. Both on the airplane and when you get to your destination, it's not, Barcelona dinner is served at 10:30 at night, and that's pretty common. And so, that's way out of kilter with the US diet. I was over in Switzerland, and this is one of my favorite stories of all time. We were over watching the Tour de France, and we got back to our little village at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I go into the little patisserie where we'd been getting breakfast, and in the morning they had all these little sandwiches. And I've been fantasizing about a little ham and cheese sandwich for the past like 2 hours. I am starving. I walk in, and the case is empty, and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, hey, if I was in America, breakfast is served all day long. Lunch is starting at 10 o'clock until midnight. Like, I can get food any time of the day. And I'm looking at this glass case, just having an absolute anxiety attack of no food. Taking a couple of small snacky type items, a little bag of trail mix, a couple of granola bars, something like that. If it's an off time for European food, you have something to eat and you're not going to starve. If you're in Paris, there's food all over the place. If you're in a little town in Normandy, maybe you're gonna go hungry. If it's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you better have something to eat. Okay, does that kind of make sense to everybody? Let's see here. One of the most important things that we talk about is pickpocketing, digital pickpocketing, RFID, getting your stuff stolen. We have all kinds of security purses. A lot of folks come in very, very concerned about somebody's going to steal my purse, somebody's going to steal my wallet, so on and so forth. Bear in mind, the Olympics were held in Paris last year. Paris is a hotbed of pickpocketing. You had 16 million people over there. 16 million people did not get pickpocketed. I'm sure a few hundred did, and that's a real bummer if you're one of those few hundred. It is a concern in a few cities. If you're aware that it's something that you should be aware of, you're probably 2 steps ahead of the game. A good recommendation is I never travel with my passport on my person. I'm going to leave that at the hotel. Most of the folks sitting here are probably not staying in like a youth hostel or a flea bag motel. You're staying in a decent hotel. You're not going to have your passport stolen out of your room. If you really want to, put it in the safe, but leave your passport at home. You do not need it for any reason except for the Imperial Gardens in Tokyo. You have to have your passport, and the Vatican. It's a different country, so you need your passport if you want to go to the Vatican. Anywhere else that I don't know of that you need your passport?
Not that I'm aware of.
Leave your passport at home. Carry your driver's license. If God forbid you get pickpocketed, somebody walks off with your wallet, I have to spend 45 minutes at the DMV to get a new driver's license. If somebody walks off with my passport, now I have to spend 2 days at the consulate hoping that they can get me my passport back and so on and so forth so I can leave the country and get back to the US. That's a royal pain. Leave your passport behind in most circumstances.
May I?
Yes.
The other thing to do is to take a color copy of your passport and have that with you in paper and exchange it with your travel companions. If you're on a sun tour, then your tour guide will ask for copies of your passport. So having that copy, if your passport gets stolen, will make it much easier to get it replaced.
Yep, 100%. The other thing that you want to be flipping and flopping, credit cards. We sell a lot of wallets here, and people come in, they have 17 credit cards, and I'm like, okay. Take 2, maybe 3 credit cards with you overseas. Leave one at the hotel. If your wallet or purse gets stolen, I've got both my passport and a spare credit card back home. I can call up and cancel my Chase card, and I still have my Citibank card, something along those lines. Or I give you one of my credit cards, you give me one of yours, and now if her stuff gets stolen, I still have one of her credit cards. If you're traveling solo in a buddy group or something like that, you make friends with somebody, hey, Leslie, would you mind holding on to one of my credit cards and I'll take one of yours, and I promise I won't use it, She seems trusting. Something along those lines.
Frank got notices every time we bought anything.
Yep.
So we got, you know, text notices every time we had a transaction. I mean, even the metro, so the subways.
So yeah, it's always a good idea to separate your stuff just in case something bad happens. You can flip flop. We're gonna do one more drawing here real quick. Julia, can you grab the grab bag there? And we're gonna do one more luggage tag, and then we're gonna start wrapping up here. Is there anything else that we want to cover?
I can't think of anything else. Any questions?
Amount of cash. Here you go.
Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I think the biggest problem I have with so much of my stuff, like especially my shirts, they get pretty wrinkled. And so, what is the best way to pack? Because right now I use, you know, I fold it, it's a cardboard, but it still gets pretty wrinkled. So, is there a better way to?
Usually it wrinkles because it's shifting around.
Okay.
So if that's why we use the packet folders and things.
I pack it in plastic, but should I be packing it a different way then?
Well, if you pack it with the packet folders, then it's got something sturdy on both sides of it that holds it in place, and it's not gonna shift, and it's gonna stay the way you folded it. Now, it may have lines from where it was folded if you wrap it up tightly, but that's what I found. A lot of people also, you can also roll and put it in a packing cube. So, and you've got a little kind of stack of 4 or 5 shirts in your packing cube, but they're again tight and they're rolled tightly so that they're not gonna get wobbly, and that's when things shift is when they tend to wrinkle.
And then again, using a wrinkle releaser.
Does that work really good?
It works pretty darn well. And again, it's like so many things that we've talked about. When we're traveling, it's not the same as being at home. At home, I can count on everything being exactly perfect. When I travel, you know, no jet lag will help, but it won't make things perfect. Wrinkle releaser here from Downey will help, but it won't make things perfect. I take clothes and we'll hang them in the shower, turn on the hot water, and that'll help. It won't make it perfect.
Yeah. And also the fabrics that you're taking. You know, if you're taking knits, then they're going to be more forgiving than linen.
Got it.
Or you know, cottons that you have to iron.
And so I've got Sheena McCormick.
Oh, that's me.
That's you. You scored a luggage tag. There we are. We're gonna go. Okay. Forget it. We're done here.
Okay.
As far as that goes.
Okay, you don't
So
need
we're
to-
gonna we're gonna talk about one last thing here, and that is going to be power. This is something that a lot of people are very concerned about. Hey, we constantly have folks coming in. I need to get a converter. I need to get a converter. I need to get a converter. Converter is more or less a 4-letter word around here. Adapter is the right way to go. Almost everything that we take with us when we're traveling simply needs an adapter. They're already dual voltage. Every cell phone, every computer, every hearing aid that I've ever seen, every CPAP machine that I've seen, those are all dual voltage. I can simply plug it into an adapter and it'll work 100%. Converters are for high power draw devices. Does anybody take their microwave oven with them? Coffee pots, hair dryers, curling irons, hair straighteners. Those are the ones that actually get people into trouble. You can buy dual voltage versions. We certainly sell them, and those will work 100%. But you just have to turn a little dial on most of them. Some are automatic, some you have to turn dial. Anyways, but if you say, hey, my favorite hair dryer is this Dyson and it works great, and I took it over to England and I plugged it into this thing that you guys sold us and it started smoking, well, that's because you're buying an adapter for something that needs a converter. Always just kind of ask us the question, what device are we taking? If it's something that generates a lot of heat, don't take it, unless it's dual voltage, and you know that. Does that make sense?
And you can always bring your appliance in and we'll help you figure it out.
Yep.
You don't need to know whether it's dual voltage or not. Bring it in, we can help you read the symbology on the side of
the hieroglyphics.
The hieroglyphics on
Yes.
the side of the appliance and tell you, this actually does work with 220, which is most of the rest of the world.
That's the one that says chicken, alligator. That's the 220. Yep.
But I just ordered converters to go to
Yep.
Kenya.
Yep.
because I was told not to get adapters, they don't convert.
Right.
Right.
So
what
have I-
what devices are you taking with you?
my phone, my husband's CPAP, you know,
Yep.
things.
Just need an adapter. Well, talk to us first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when I was in Tanzania, there was a hairdryer in every single tent.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
don't need to worry about that.
One of the other things that I'll jump in real quickly on most converters that we see. If you buy one on Amazon, it's like $50 or something like that. It usually weighs like 3 ounces, and those our feedback on them is they are terrible, horrible, awful, no good, rotten things that I took my Dyson hairdryer, I plugged it into this $50 Amazon converter, and all of a sudden something started smoking. A true converter, if you say, hey, I'm moving overseas and I have to take my Dyson, you're buying something that weighs like 6-7 pounds and costs about $200, and that'll work well, but nobody's going to travel with an 8-pound converter just so their hairdryer works. Does that make sense?
Well, I'm just thinking, I mean, I
Yep.
can return them, but I bought one for my husband and for myself.
Yep.
But
Return
it'll
'em.
still work. I
Oh,
don't need a-
they'll work for your the cheap converters will absolutely work for your phone, for your CPAP, and so on and so forth. But there's no reason to get one. You can just get an adapter, and it works 100%. Okay.
Do you understand what a converter does?
Yeah.
Okay, because a converter changes the wattage from.
Right, from 240 to
Right.
whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean,
The,
people have blown up their laptops because they were using the wrong things in certain countries, and
maybe 10-15 years ago, but every laptop that I've seen in the past decade is dual voltage. Like every one of them is dual voltage.
Now the
So-
plugs are different in all the countries,
Right.
so that's what an adapter does, is change the configuration of the plugs.
right.
Yeah. So speaking of which, we have our grand prize here. Okay, this is a European converter that not only converts to European, or this is a European adapter that not only adapts, but it also has 3 USB-Cs, 2 USB-As. So I can plug in my iPhone, my iPad, my watch, my Kindle, and
AirPods?
my AirPods, and I can plug my electric toothbrush into this. Okay, so since we've had such a fix going on here from this corner of the room, we're gonna have Leslie pull.
Closing my eyes. Okay, Hattie Elliott.
Oh, you got it. The fix is in. So that's kind of new rule of thumb is sit with these guys, and you'll be in great shape
Especially if they're
here.
going to the casino.
Yes.
Any further questions? Anything else? We can, if anything comes up, come and see Julia and Dave, and Dustin and Justin here at Lieber's. I'm not here usually, but it was been fun, so thank you.
So in closing, guys, thank you so much for spending your Sunday afternoon with us. Hopefully you learned a couple of little tricks and tips that our experiences can help you out with. Big thank you to Michael over here with Sun Tours. They run some absolutely fabulous trips. If you're sitting here going, you know, I just bought this new luggage, I gotta go somewhere cool, go over, talk to him, take a look at what they offer. They go pretty much everywhere around the world. We're always here to help you out, whether it's a quick trip down to Austin or a trip to Antarctica. We've got all the things that you need to make that a little bit smoother sailing. For the folks out there in the internet, thank you for joining us here. If you enjoyed the content that you see, like and subscribe to our channel. And with that, guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much to Leslie for coming in here and joining us today. I will absolutely do that. Let me shut down our camera here.
How can my kids access